Hey girl. Yeah, it's been a while since we did a video, obviously, but life kinda happened, and doing, you know, life stuff, and we also got a kitty. His name's Berlioz, isn't he adorable? Does that make up for the fact that I've been absent for a while? Huh? Yeah. Alright, you go do kitty things. So I want to ask this thing right off the bat. Why did they not have a squad goals thing going on in the marketing for this movie? Or even like a hashtag Suicide Squad goals? I mean, come on guys, missed opportunity here. Hello everybody, I am Adorkable Rachel and welcome back to my channel. You are now watching a new portion of the show called Rachel Reviews, where we talk about movies or books or music or basically whatever the hell I want to talk about. And you may notice I did my hair just for you because of this review. Seemed kind of appropriate. No, I swear this is not a porn video. There are probably some spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. So here we go. Here are my thoughts on the new anti-hero DC comic book movie, Suicide Squad. Basic premise of the movie. Viola Davis comes in being all Viola Davis-y, and she says that she wants to put together a team of villains called Task Force X, or Suicide Squad, so that they can be there to fight whatever evil comes their way that the police or government can't seem to handle. But long story short, one of the villains that she recruits, Enchantress, basically decides that she's gonna go rogue, and so Viola Davis sends out all the villains to go and defeat her anyway. So here's my first question. You put together this great big team of supervillains to basically defeat a possible somebody, but then one of them betrays you, so you get the whole group together anyway and order them to go defeat that one that betrayed you. Does anyone else see something wrong with this? Well, okay, they have those things in their necks that, you know, could kill them if they betray you, but still, it just seems like a big recipe for disaster. Whatever, anyway. This is, of course, the third movie in the DC Extended Universe films, the first one being Man of Steel, and then the other one being Batman vs. Superman. And both movies seem to have a very common reaction from both audiences and critics of, meh? God damn it, Warner Brothers, stop making such sloppy superhero films. Whoever's greenlighting this mediocrity needs to be fired. But to be fair, I have noticed that a lot of comic book fans have actually kind of sort of liked this movie. From my perspective, the general census seems to be, it could have been worse. It is, in my opinion, a big step up from the other two films, but I think that more has to do with the tone rather than the plot. It's now more playful and humorous and silly and colorful. Hey, it's almost like Warner Brothers saw the Deadpool movie and decided they wanted to do the same thing, so they added a bunch of, you know, more fun, humorous stuff to make the movie better. To not so awesome effect. We have seen stuff like this recently with other movies like The Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy. Both are Marvel. Wait. Where they bring in a bunch of different characters to kind of like fight against evil. But I do admit it does take a really fun, unique approach with it actually being villains rather than it being heroes. But they're still fighting against an evil, so it kind of seems like the same thing. But then again, a lot of these are characters that we haven't seen on the big screen, so I admit, it was really fun to see a lot of these characters come together. Yeah, it's just too bad that the majority of the characters just weren't that interesting. Now, when I say the majority, I don't mean all of them. So, to give this movie a fair shake, I will say that I think that the strongest part of the entire film was probably the main actors. Viola Davis is of course awesome, even though she's being Viola Davis-y, but that's why we love her. But Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn was by far my favorite part of the whole film. And I knew she was gonna be my favorite part of the film. When I was watching the film, I really felt like I was seeing Harley Quinn. It was a bit of a different take than like the animated series, but it was Harley. It was like Harley in the now, and I really, really liked her. She was psychotic, she was likable, she kicked a lot of ass, and she looked damn good in that outfit. I just love that this character had no fear, and she completely embraced the crazy that she had become. She even got to poke fun at herself quite a bit, and that made her really fun to watch. Another great performance was Will Smith as Deadshot. He brought so much humanity and sympathy to this character. He was funny when he needed to be, and he just had that classic Will Smith charisma that just works so well with this character. Will Smith, man, you still got it. You have still got it. Don't ever change. The actress playing the daughter, though, was, yeah, she wasn't that good. Don't do this. Don't do it, Daddy. Don't. And finally, another performance that I really enjoyed was Jared Leto as the Joker. I think there there was a lot of speculation going into this film on whether he was a good choice to play him and also whether or not that look, you know, worked for the Joker. But I've seen a lot of different performances of the Joker, both in TV and comics and cartoons and movies, and although it wasn't the strongest or the most influential performance as the Joker, I still really liked it. Like Harley, he was really eccentric, but he also was charming and was threatening at the same time. He was over the top, sure, but not to the point where it felt overdone. It was like just enough for the tone that I think they were going for. Overall, I really enjoyed his performance, even though he wasn't really on screen that much, but I also really liked that you kind of got the sense that he cared for his lady love. I liked watching the relationship of the Joker and Harley develop throughout the film and seeing their backstory of where they came from. You just kind of really got the sense that, yeah, they're crazy, but they're in love. It would be nice to have a bit more backstory on the Joker, but who knows, maybe we'll have that in another future Batman film. But do it better, Warner Brothers. So yeah, backstory. We do get some backstory on a bunch of the characters. Some's good, some feels rushed, and some we don't get at all. And you know what? That's kind of conflicting, because if you're a DC comic book fan, then you don't really need the backstory to know these characters, but if you're a theater goer, then I would think that you would want to know most of the stories behind these characters, or else why in the world are you gonna care? But also, if you tried to give backstory to all these characters, then it would be like a 3-hour-long movie. And the backstory part of this film was like already way too long to begin with. Huh, funny how you can sometimes give too much backstory, but still not enough. See, when they did something like this with the Avengers, we already had all of these movies leading up to that film that were like for each character and their stories and where they came from, and we got to know them. So when we got to the Avengers, we didn't really need to know too much backstory, except for maybe like the minor characters. I guess what I'm getting at is, why did they make this movie before they made like a Harley Quinn movie or a Deadshot movie? Those characters could totally hold their own movies. Why couldn't we have done something where we got to know them before this film, and then that way we could have given more backstory to some of the small characters? Because when you get just this movie, it created a lot of questions. For example, why did Katana's sword contain the soul of her dead husband? What's the story behind that? It just kind of comes in and is never addressed again. Why did Boomerang return to the group, and where did he go in the first place? What exactly do the chemicals of ACE do? Oh yeah, and if the Joker could break out Harley Quinn from jail, why didn't he just do that in the first place? Yeah, you kind of get the feeling that there was probably a lot cut out of this film, so the pacing and the editing is kind of awkward at times. Also, why did Boomerang have a thing for pink unicorns? Yeah, quirks don't really seem to work that much unless you actually have some rhyme or reason behind it, guys. Oh, and if you didn't take the time to read that little description of him on the side screen over here during the film, wouldn't that have seemed really out of place? See, that's another thing. All that description that they just kind of throw at you of all the characters during the backstory portion of the film, who the hell's gonna read all of that? You get like 3 things to say tops, but like everyone had like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 things, and no one's gonna read that. Another thing that really bothered me about the film was that it was insanely predictable at times. And god damn it, I hate it when there's predictable stuff that you can just see coming right from the get-go. For example, since we were introduced to El Diablo, he was kind of like meh about being able to use his powers because he didn't want to go off the edge. And in my mind during the film, I was thinking, oh, what, did you kill your whole family? Is that why you don't want to use your powers? And it turns out I was 100% right. And unfortunately, not a whole lot of time to care about that because I didn't really get to know his family too well before we saw his poutiness. I will say this though, and spoilers, what Harley Quinn did there at the very end with the sword and defeating Enchantress, I didn't see that coming, and that was so badass. So in conclusion, is this movie boring? No. Does it have a lot of inconsistencies and unexplained plot points? Yes. But was it fun to watch? It was. In my opinion, there are a lot of movies out there that you can enjoy as long as you're aware that you can kind of turn off your brain and just see some pretty eye candy for a while, and this movie kind of goes into that category. As a DC fan, it was really fun and had some cool, interesting takes on it, but as a moviegoer, I think that if I had my way, I would definitely go back and change some stuff, to at least help with the flow if nothing else. It is in no way a perfect movie, but it was a step in the right direction, I will give it that. There was potential for a great film here, but it did need a little more, and it also needed just a little less. I think I mentioned I did really like the tone, I liked it was quirky, and I liked all the colors and the cinematography. I mean, look, I don't know if you can see it too well, but I painted my nails this week to match the color scheme of the logo. And yeah, a lot of the characters were kind of lacking, but I will give the movie that they at least did have distinct personalities. They may not have been fleshed out too well, but you could definitely see that there was, you know, substance behind them. But to say one more nice thing about the movie, I really like the music that they chose for it. Seriously, one of the best playlists I have ever seen in a movie in a very long time. It may have been kind of weird to watch, but it was definitely a lot of fun to listen to. Alright guys, so there's my review, and as we've done in the past, now I want to know, what did you guys think of Suicide Squad? Go ahead and leave your comments below, and be sure to like and share, and if you like what you saw here, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, please be sure to keep checking back for more Adorkable videos, and I'm not lying, we have some coming up, so be sure to check back real soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again in the next video. Bye, Adorka buddies! Bye!